Hi everybody, Jim Phillips here. Welcome to another episode of Java with Jim. I greatly appreciate you being here and spending a few moments of your time with me. I'm going to cover something that came up in a conversation the other day with one of my coaching clients, and it's something I think that we all question from time to time because I know we're all inspired to do different things. So I'm going to jump right into it. Had the conversation, was with my client. We were talking about how they were inspired to do this particular thing, and I'm not going to get into what that was, but they had this inspiration and they were having a difficult time following up on it, following through on this inspiration. So the question came up, well, where do these inspirations come from? What's the purpose of an inspiration? And I guess primarily, what am I supposed to do with it? What that brought to my mind was a quote that's in my book, The Key to Life Living in Full Expression. And it was a quote that came to me when I was doing one of my early morning walks. And it came as a result of while I was writing the book. And I was struggling with what I wanted to say. I was struggling with whether or not I should actually be writing a book. I had all the questions that I think a lot of people do, which is why me? Why do I think I have something to say? There's so many other books on similar topics that have been written. Why do I think I have something that people would actually want to buy? So I went on my morning walk and I asked the question exactly that. Why? Why am I writing this book? Why do I think that I have something to say? And the response that immediately came to me was, you wouldn't be inspired to do something if it wasn't intended to be. Very simply. You wouldn't be inspired to do something if it wasn't intended to be. So I thought about it, and I definitely was inspired to write the book. It was something I'd been trying to put together for a long period of time. I had a lot of information, a lot of ideas that kept coming to me. Putting it in the format that I wanted was a little bit daunting, but I knew that I could do it. But again, I was certainly inspired. And so I went ahead and I started writing the book, and I completed it, and I got it all done. And then there was a second part to that quote that I'll get to in just a second. But I guess the question is, where do inspirations come from, and what are inspirations? Well, I believe that an inspiration is it's a nudge from your soul. It's an intention of your soul, of something that your soul wants to experience, wants to complete, wants to create during this lifetime. And I think we're given many, many opportunities to hear the inspiration, to hear the call, and I think we ignore it many, many times. And my experience have been that whenever I've been inspired to do something, if I ignored it, it got louder and louder and louder, to the point where, I'm going to use this term, although I think we can override this, but I'm going to use the term to where you don't have a choice other than to follow through on the inspiration. Now, we can continue to put it off, and I do know that if we have inspirations that come in and something else comes up that takes us off track, or we decide not to follow through the inspiration for whatever reason because we have something else that we feel we need to do, as long as what that other thing is something that would be a benefit to your soul, I think the soul allows that to take place, because the soul is still going to benefit from whatever that is. However, your soul is still going to give you that nudge, and eventually it's going to be like a 2x4 hitting you upside the head, where you really feel like you can't not honor it. You get to the point where you really feel that you have to honor it. You have to bring it to fruition. Then the question is, well, how do I do that? Well, the second part of the quote, as I was mentioning in my story about writing my book, I wrote the book. I got it finished, I got it published, was ready for everything to go forward with it. Then I realized I had never marketed a book before. I didn't really know where to begin. I certainly saw that people were using social media, and you would hope your publisher is going to help you out a bit. But I was more or less stuck. I didn't really know what it was I was supposed to do with it. Again, I was inspired to write the book. If you are inspired to do something, it's intended to be. So I asked the question, okay, I wrote the book, I was inspired, it was intended to be, here it is, now what? And the immediate answer I got was, we gave you the first part, which was, if you are inspired to do something, then it is intended to be. And then the second part was, if it is intended to be, then all for it to be will be provided. And that's about allowing. That's about not pushing, not pressing, not doing so much efforting that you're pushing against perhaps some of the opportunities you have to get whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, to allow your inspiration to actually get put out into the world. And so I just trusted that. I stepped back. I didn't try to push. I allowed the book to go where the book goes. And if you follow me at all on social media, you'll see that my book has traveled all over the world, which is an interesting thing that I've had happen. I have people, friends, people who have read my book that travel all over the world, and what they'll do is take a picture of my book wherever they are. I've got a picture of my book on top of Mount Kilimanjaro. I just recently had pictures of my book taken in Bali and Dubai and where else? Singapore. I've got pictures in India. I've got pictures in Colombia. I've got pictures all over. And it's just really cool to see that happen. Now, that all happened as a result of me following through on the inspiration, because if I didn't have the book, those pictures wouldn't be taken. But getting back to the point about an inspiration, the whole point of that is you're going to be inspired. Your soul has certain things, certain experiences that it wants to have during this lifetime. You're going to be given those nudges. I suggest that when you first feel that nudge, hear that nudge, sense that nudge, whatever way that it comes to you, honor it. Give it the attention and intention it deserves so that you can bring it to fruition. Because when you do, you're going to have other things happen in your life that you never could have expected, never would have imagined could possibly happen for you. So again, you would not be inspired to do something if it wasn't intended to be. If it is intended to be, all for it to be will be provided. Trust. Follow through on the inspiration. Give it the energy. Give it the life. In fact, here's another way to look at that. To inspire means to breathe life into. So if you think about it, from when you have an inspiration, you are to breathe life into that inspiration. Whatever that is that you're being inspired to do, breathe life into it. Bring it to life. And the other thing that happens with that is when you breathe life into your inspiration, life is going to be breathed into you. And that's where you take the steps necessary to bring your inspiration into being. And then once you start that process of bringing your inspiration into being, everything you need for it to be fulfilled will be provided. I hope you find some benefit from this message. I appreciate you taking the time to listen to what I have to say. I appreciate the questions that I get. I appreciate the feedback. If you have something you would like me to address in a future episode of Java with Jim, please email me, text me, go to my website, www.livinginfullexpression.com. You can buy my book there as well, The Key to Life Living in Full Expression, or you can go to Amazon and buy my book there. I do one-on-one coaching. I do small group coaching. You can reach me by going to the website. Again, that web address is www.livinginfullexpression.com. Again, thank you for your time. I look forward to the next episode of Java with Jim. Take care and be well. Bye now.